You guys obviously are the the baddest rock and roll band of all time, Mötley Crüe. And I'm going to start off with this one. In 1983, I went to a magazine shop, and the name of the magazine was Cream. And on the cover, I remember seeing a picture of these four guys who looked like Kiss fans, but had gotten dragged through the gutter, like really, really bad. And maybe hadn't slept in a couple of days. And it said, filthy, disgusting, rude, vile, Mötley Crüe, and you're gonna love them. and I bought the magazine, and I went home, and I went, Mom, check these guys out.
That was a bad move right
Mom,
there.
check these guys out.
Yeah.
She said, Mark, don't you ever listen to Mötley Crüe again. 40 years later, I'm hanging out and interviewing my favorite rock and roll band in the world.
That's amazing. Right on.
So thank you guys. Thank you.
Nice.
It's so great to be here with you. I've met you guys, seen you guys a million times. Love everything, and I just want to get into it with you guys with Dogs of War, the new single that's out. This is the first one since The Dirt. How did the song come about? A lot of people are wondering what the song is about, especially the new video. Very, to me, a different sound from Mötley Crüe, a different concept, a different video. Whichever you guys want to talk about it first, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, a lot of people have said it's a different sound, but I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily agree with that. If you listen to the verses, they're very similar to a lot of stuff that we've done, that simple grinding thing with those almost cheap trick melodies. And the riff, I mean, it could be off of Dr. Feelgood.
Yep.
And so I don't really feel like it's that different. I think what's different for people is that when we were working on the song, Tommy had the idea to just let the bottom fall out in the verses, which is not really what we do. Yeah, we usually, go for it, and really unique for Vince.
Yeah. I don't ever sing like that. I don't sing in that, hey,
Right.
But it works in the song. It's
Vince, speaking of not singing like that, obviously being a fan, knowing the history of the band, reading the interviews, Nikki, when Vince first started with the band, you had to kind of write differently for Vince's singing style and I guess his tone or whatever. In a song like this, was it more difficult for you to sing like that, Vince?
No, the song was very easy.
It was in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think what we do together is we all kind of know each other so well. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and for me as a lyricist, I'm always thinking about Vince and his tempo and how as I write. So it's not like out of the wheelhouse, but it's nice to know each other so well. That makes sense.
So in knowing each other so well, John, I'll take this one to you. You being the newest member of the band, I know you were a big Mötley Crüe band before you got the call. What kind of different sound or edge or writing style do you bring to the band?
Well, me and Nikki have written many, many songs together, and it's funny. Nikki will be driving, and he'll call me, and he'll have just these lyrics and melodies. It just
That's because, by the way, Tommy or Vince won't answer my call.
Yeah, right.
They're over it.
But
there's Nick again.
Dude, I got this idea.
it's I love it, and then I'll have two phones, and I'll record him singing this melody with these lyrics, and then I'll go put some guitar on it or something. But we're always working and coming up with things, and it's so wonderful because I'll play something and he'll be like, oh, try this, or you try this, and it's just such a creative pool. And I think that's something very special. It's just everybody is just throwing, and it's just such a wonderful finished product when everybody's just in there. Everybody's hands are in there.
Collaborative, yeah.
And he has, been inspirational in just the new energy and stuff, and that's been inspirational in itself. It's like this band has a whole lot of new fire, and we were like, you're only as good as your last effort, and we hadn't recorded anything in a while.
Since The Dirt, right?
Yes, and it was time. That we harness some of this and go show people where we're at. This is where we're at today.
Yeah.
Nikki, you joked around about you call Vince, he won't take your call. Tommy won't take your call. Right now, I've been with my tag team partner in the world of pro wrestling for close to 30 years now, so I know what it's like when your partner doesn't take your call, and what it's like to.
I mean, I am joking, but
yeah, no, we
no, you're not. We don't think. But how?
Mötley Crüe breaks up on the air.
But having listen, me and my partner have been by each other's side for 30 years, 300 nights a year on the road. How do you maintain the friendship? How do you maintain the relationship? How do you get through the thick and thin? Is it just, it's like a marriage, but how have you guys maintained it?
It's pretty easy though. With I've known Tommy for 40.
What do you mean when you're 17?
I was 17.
17?
Yeah.
Fuck.
He was 17. Yeah, we're both 17.
Yep.
And I mean, that was a long time ago. But yeah, it's just we just love each other, you know. Of course, there's those times like brothers, you get spats and stuff, and you're pissed off for a day or something. But then you come back, and this is the guys that I love. You know, I've known these guys longer than anybody I've known on Earth, except for my sister.
Yeah,
it.
same here.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, and it's going to keep
Just
going.
a band of four got each other's backs.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And with John, you know, I just met John not too long ago when we started the band, because these guys are going, you know, what about John Five for guitar player? I go, who's John Five?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I did some research and stuff, and I go, wow, this guy's badass, and he fits right in this brotherhood that we have.
John, do you feel like you fit right into Mötley Crüe? Like, could you have been with Mötley Crüe, a member from day one?
Well, it's funny because
We
I've
would have
known
been
Tom.
7, but yeah.
I've known Tommy, and I've known Nikki for so long.
We've known him for a long time.
So we're always giggling and laughing and just sending each other the craziest stuff. So we've always been like just really together. But the first time, you know, I love Vince so much, and I met Vince the first time when when I actually just joined the band. So it's been, it's strange to think that, you know, that I wasn't there. I mean, because we're so close.
I know.
You know, we're so close.
Intimidating at all that first time you guys got in a room for you?
Exciting.
Okay.
Really exciting. I mean, I was so excited. I've known the songs since they've come out. You know, I played them as many times as they have probably, you know. So it's, but I was so excited. And true story, I was like, okay, you know, going to rehearsal, and I was like an hour early, so I went to Target and messed around, like walked around
gets
or
there
something.
early?
An hour
John
early.
5 kills time at Target before the Mötley gig.
So I'm like getting stuff for the tour, whatever, and I come to rehearsal. I'm still like 15 minutes early, and they're like, "Dude, where have you been?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And you're like a half hour late, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I actually
Wind up first day.
yeah, I actually like was late to the very first day of rehearsal, but I think then maybe they were just pulling my leg. I don't know.
And dude, you'll love this. And he does this often. Like, we'll be at rehearsal, and then like in between a song, he'll just like look at you, and he's like, he like pinches himself, and he's like, I'm in fucking Mötley Crüe.
Yeah.
This is fucking
It-
wild.
it's weird. It is strange.
I remember we were on the tour, and we would go out and do the da da da. Hey,
Yeah.
Before and Rock and Roll Part 2, whatever that
Yeah.
song's called, and he would be like laughing, and every night I'd be like, what is he laughing at? And we were having fun and stuff. So later I was like, hey man, what's going on? You go, I just freak out like I'm in a Mötley Crüe video. I'm looking at you, looking at you.
Yeah, it
and I'm
looks like I'm
what's
in, like, a
happening?
video,
I look
like-
back at Tommy and I see Vince, and
Am I here?
There are certain pro
it's good
wrestlers.
energy for us.
Absolutely.
You know?
I
It's
get to share the
positive.
ring with certain pro wrestlers, the Ric Flairs or the Hulk Hogans
There
of the
you go.
world. And, you know, here I am in a storyline with Hulk Hogan. I married his daughter, and I'm face to face with him. We're about to fight, and I'm like, this is great.
What's happening?
You know?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know the drill. then.
Totally get it. You guys obviously came up on the Sunset Strip way back in the day in 1981, which brings me to the question about the gig you just recently played at the Bowery Ballroom. I remember seeing it on Instagram, and I'm like, what is this? And then I realized, I'm like, holy shit, they're playing a small gig right here in my backyard. So you played about 400 people at the Bowery. When was the last time you played in a room like that, and what was the feel for all of you? Vince, take it first, please.
We did a show we did at Wembley Stadium in London.
Yep.
We played a small club, and we were called.
It was even smaller, wasn't it?
It was small. It was 300 people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
the stage was literally in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
Just,
So fun.
It was crazy, and but so we go from that to Wembley Stadium and play, and but I tell you what, I love the small gigs because it really brings you back to where you started. Because we all started in clubs. That's the way you start, and to do that, once or twice a year or something is good for you. I think it brings you back to your roots, and I just love it.
Is it fun? Is it genuinely
Yeah.
fun for you, Tommy, to
Way-
go play a gig in a place like that?
way fun, man. The drums are on the floor, not on some dumb high riser. Like we're
You're not
actually,
upside down.
Yeah, like we're actually set up like we are in rehearsal. So for us, it's really comfortable. And the best part is when the crowd's louder than the band. For us, we don't get to really hear that a lot, So hearing the audience sing the songs, that's the the clincher
Adrenaline,
right
yeah.
there. You're like, dude, we don't get to hear that.
Right.
Very rarely.
Mickie, writing Dogs of War found you guys back in the studio with Bob Rock, obviously, who produced Dr. Feelgood. What was it like for you guys to collaborate with him one more time?
Our process, the successful part of our process has been when some combination of us comes up with, a bunch of songs. And go back to the Dr. Feelgood album. We went to a place, I think it was called Cornerstone in the Valley.
Yeah.
And we went in there and we demoed up most of those Dr. Feelgood songs. And then Bob Rock gets them and says, okay, guys, that's not our best shot because we're not producing a record, but this is what we think the songs are about and they feel about. And then Bob goes in there and we sit in a circle, kind of back to what Tommy said about rehearsal or at the Bowery. And we just work out all the kinks, and it pulls out the magic in us, and we go in the studio. And this last song, last songs, actually, we recorded a few. We were pretty much like that. If I remember correctly, we were all in a circle, and Bob was sitting on the floor with the guitar, and he's like, here, Tommy, change the kick drum pattern right here. Nicky, push a little bit here, pull out. And you're in it. You don't even know what's happening. You're just in the magic, and then he'll go, okay, got it. And we're like,
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
thing about it.
Yeah.
It was which is very unorthodox, but we all tracked in the live room. But nowadays you track in the room with everybody, but we were all together and it was so fast. It went by so fast.
You didn't even realize that you were making this song in the midst of just working on the song.
They were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
that's it."
I mean, we
Sounds
did, but
great.
we didn't know. We trust Bob. So if Bob says you got it, we're pretty much, we know, he's thought way out in advance, like how he's going to edit it and the layers, what he's going to do with a wall of, guitar amps, what he's going to do with the vocals. So it's really, me and John talk about this all the time. I love having boundaries. I love, in the studio, if Tommy goes, hey, Nicky, why don't you try this on bass? We don't always have it all figured out. And the kind of part of magic in being as a band is trusting each other and just letting go sometimes and knowing that someone's going to catch you.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Bob one time said to me, I was fretting over something, which I guess I'm good at, and he said, "Hey, dude, don't worry about it. It's never going to suck. I won't let it." And you're like, right. That's right. Yeah, but you forget. You get caught up in it. You're an artist.
There's a lot of producers that are like, I don't know, what do you call them? Like helicopter producers or something? Or what's the name? They come in and they're just like vibe guys. They're like, doesn't sound right. Keep working. This dude is in the fucking studio with us, with a guitar on a stool, on a mic or whatever, and he's like a fifth member of the band.
Yeah.
That's really rare. There's very few producers that are actually musicians, and so he gets in the trenches, man, and the end result is what you hear.
For your absolute diehards, did you guys ever consider, instead of writing a brand new song, maybe dusting a song off from back in the day from Too Fast or Shout that didn't make the cut, rework it and send it out there so you get like kind of that old Mötley Crüe feel?
We did a version that we predominantly only played live on 97 of Shout at the Devil.
Okay.
And that was really exciting to go back because we, especially the drums, we really addressed it with like a lot of rhythm to it. Tommy really were like really pushing against his feel as a drummer and loops. And then it was like a lot of fun to do that. But, yeah, nothing planned. There's a song called Stick to Your Guns.
Oh, yeah.
I've always thought like that song recorded would be such an interesting.
Or Toast to the Town.
Or Toast to the Town, that which was kind of like the sweet.
By the way, I'm one of the original 500 guys.
Oh, you are. So you
I'm
know
one of the-
Stick to Your Guns. And I love the lyrics on that. I mean, it's such
gospel.
Bob,
I
in a
can sing
weird.
it with you guys right now. Stick to Your Guns, Toast Town, the original 45, the original on leather, got it all. Even the ones that you didn't release, Run for Your Life.
Oh
I
my
listened to-
God,
Wow,
dude!
I forgot about that.
Guys, I listened to Run for Your Life the other day, and I was like, please, God.
What does it go?
Please, let them re-release this one.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah. You guys are going out on tour. You're playing some. You're doing some festivals, right? This year.
Yeah.
In the U.S. and Canada, you got Welcome to Rockville. You got Summerfest. You got Louder Than Life. Aftershock. Not a full-blown tour, just kind of select gigs, right, Tommy?
Yeah. We're just gonna go rip some festivals, some clubs, just have some fun. We just went around the world like 2 years.
We went hard.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, we went hard. We were in Australia, Japan. We were in Europe for 2 months, which, by the way, for me was one of the greatest times ever being with the band because we're playing every other day. We were like getting to do stuff. Usually we're on a grind.
Sure.
So
South
I think we
America,
just decided
too.
to make this year about releasing new music, and then next year we're gonna go crazy again, I'm sure.
Okay. Quick stories, real quick. Nikki, obviously, I met you in Vegas. We were talking earlier. We were talking about your grandma that you call Nona. In Italian, I know you're of Italian descent, so am I.
All right.
Nona is grandma, and I just
Yes.
wasn't sure if her name was Nona.
No, her name was her name was Irvina, but she always would love to wear red wigs, so they called her Rusty. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
And she smoked cigarettes nonstop. She was fabulous. She had like the matching pantsuits. Probably had some kind of influence on me because as a young kid, I would see these bands in magazines like you, and I would go with her to the fabric store, and she would make me like checkered bell bottom. I'm in Idaho, probably not a good idea, but she was like really this like a big influence in my life. And so her name Nona in Italian.
Nona, yep.
Yeah.
And Tommy, as a 16-year-old kid, I'm at a Yankee game. And they put up a thing on the screen, and it said the Yankees would like to welcome Heather Locklear to the game. Right? So I see that. My sister says to me, she goes, well, if she's here, that means Tommy Lee is here. And I'm like, you're right.
You're right.
And I look down, and this section just starts to crowd with people. And it was a bunch of dudes who were, going over to see Heather Locklear. Yeah. Not me. Not me. I ran down there. I'm screaming at you. I'm like, this is right around Theater of Pain. I'm like, Tommy! Fucking crew rule! I chased you through the corridors of Yankee Stadium. Some chick was putting a hot dog in a container. I took the hot dog container. I ripped it in half. You grabbed my hand. You threw me in a room. And you signed my hot dog container for me. Yep.
Now I remember.
I don't know if you really remember.
No, I
but
do.
had it
Now
down.
I remember.
No, wait, which hot dog?
Huh?
Pretty hard to forget a guy your size chasing me down.
I was a little fat kid running as fast. Like, oh, please, Tommy, stop. Highlight of my motley life other than today, guys. Thank you very much. Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, John 5. Appreciate you guys coming in. Great job with Dogs of War. Looking forward to seeing you guys out on tour again.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you.